You're listening to the Craft Messages That Matter podcast. I'm your host, Theo Capodistrius. Grab a coffee, sit back, and enjoy today's episode. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Craft Messages That Matter podcast. My name is Theo Capodistrius, and this is the podcast where we dig into the art and science of communication, public speaking, and presentation skills for the corporate business owner or entrepreneur. Today, we're going to talk about to memorize or not memorize your script. So, the case for memorization. Memorizing your script can lead to a more natural delivery and a stronger connection with your audience. There are some really good tips to remember your script as well. One of my favorite ones is to write everything out. Have it all written out on pieces of paper. From there, break it up into smaller chunks. So break it up into your introduction and each key point, and then your conclusion. From there, learn each part individually. That's going to be one of the most useful things you can do, breaking it up and chunking it in different parts and learning those individually. Being able to do that, you can then learn each part separately, so you don't rely on the fact that it has to be in a particular order. Other things you can do include reading it before you go to bed, when you wake up, and then reciting it in the shower. Of course, recording it is going to be really useful as well. Recording yourself, listening to it, and doing that over and over again. That also helps with the rehearsal aspect as well. Using a script can also be useful as well. Using a script means you're going to be accurate on all the particular points that you're using. It'll aid in any sort of complex or very technical presentations that you might need to give, and it can help in some ways reduce your anxiety because you've got something in front of you and you can always lean back on it. But you don't want to stand there reading. If you're using a script, it's really important to break it up into top points. Chunk it so you're not relying on every single word that has you just standing there reading, but the main big words are actually going to spark your memory and they'll allow you to effectively present this information in a way where you're not necessarily reading everything, but you're using your script to guide your presentation. You can blend these approaches though. You can blend memorization and using a script. So a script can be helpful and it can be useful to have to support you. One of the things I love to do is if you already have your structure down and your clear structure, and this is something that I talk about in my Ultimate Presentation Structure Guide, once you have your structure available with your introduction that has with your introduction that includes your point that is going to bring the attention, each main point with a piece of factual information and an anecdote or a story, you're able to memorize easier this way because you know that once you make a particular point, you've got these particular facts that can help support that. Using visual aids as well can help your memory. So, for example, if you're using a statistic to support one of your facts, that statistic can be written on a slide. But it doesn't necessarily have to be everything in words, but it could just be the number. It could be 57%, for example, because you know that 57% of cows enjoy being milked in the summer. Fun little statistic for you. I made that one up. But that's an example of things you could do. But ultimately, you need to find what's going to work for you. Some people are able to memorize stuff really easily, and that's great. For some people, memorizing can be hard, and if they fall off and don't remember necessarily what they're saying, it could then lead to them stumbling and then they lose their place and then they can't get back up. And we don't want that. So it really has to be an approach that works for you. I'd love to hear from you though, like what works for you. Have you tried using a script? Have you tried memorizing? Tell me what's worked for you in the past and what you'd like to know moving forward. We talk about some memory techniques in my online on-demand course, Communicate for Impact. And I know that some of my participants who've done the course have said that they found that really useful, encompassing what they've learned into their day-to-day presentation speaking lives. And I think that's awesome. I'd love to know what's worked for you in the past. And if you like this episode, please follow or subscribe and give it a rating. Give it a 5 out of 5. We love that, particularly as I'm in the early stages of the pod. To learn more about what I do as a speaker, a trainer, an MC, and a public speaking, communications and presentation coach, head to my website, www.theocap.com.au. Follow the Craft Messages That Matter Instagram page at CMTM_podcast. And of course, follow my personal Instagram page at theocap88.